Okay, so if you're ever considering doing one of these yourself, what we do is we always request that we have at least 4 conduits down on the generator pod end. These are all 2-inch, and this is how we feed the power to the big boy, the living quarters, to the panel that's at the other end of the shelter. This is where we're going to bring our solar down, and it could be any arrangement. We've just done this before, and this makes the most sense. Bring the solar down here. We're going to bring AC power out to a well, and then we're going to also bring AC power out for if you wanted to subfeed a building, you could do that, a shed or whatever, that would allow you to do that. And then comms, we're going to have bringing in internet using some Cat 6, and then so then that's what's going on this end. Right now we're getting ready to weld, because the gen pod on this unit was bolted to the main section. We're going to weld the inside doors to seal this off, because right now she's not watertight at this joint. Then you can see where this conduit, this is the feed for the power that goes all the way the length of the shelter, all the way down to the electrical panel on the other end. And then we have septic discharge and vent, and you need to keep those straight. They're labeled down there now, and we'll mark them up top. It's always helpful to mark your conduits up top, what they are, tape or marker. And then that far fitting that galvanized there is the water coming in from the well. The other one is just an extra we're not using. Then on the other end, might as well show you the other end. That stone coming tomorrow. Stone's being delivered today. Going to be brought in on a gizmo called a telebelt, which is kind of like a concrete pump truck. You can reach out 150 feet. So here we are on the escape pod side. So we'll completely put stone in around here. And then I have 3 conduits. That pipe is going to be vertical. That's going to be our sump pump, that 12-inch plastic culvert. And then we have extra conduits. One of them is going to feed the sump pump. One of them is going to be, they're just extras on this side for all types of comms and video cameras, internet, ham radio. We just leave extra conduits, so makes it easy not to double up things and to separate some of the things if there's any noise or interference between them. We try to use Cat 6 shielded on everything for that, and then coax. And then we will put on all these check valves you see, which can, if they get water in them, can discharge back into the gravel. We try to put a little bucket, 5-gallon pail, just to keep anything from clogging up the check valve. So just keeping a free airspace around that check valve to allow it to drain. Then we're going to be compacting the stone under here. We will be packing it every 8 inches, and we'll run our plate compactors back and forth. And it's going to be fun because we can't get around. We're going to have one dropped in here. It's kind of a back and forth until I get up to this layer. I won't be able to get around. It's going to be hard. We'll eventually be able to get around. That's going to be fun. But that's what's got to be done.
Only 3/4 volt. A 1/2 inch.
Okay, our next step is setting up the sump pump. We got a hurricane coming. Abraham's got a Zoller pump that has the head capability of pumping the water out of this hole if we fill it in. Or if the bunker ever floods for whatever crazy reason, we can pump it out. 1.5-inch line, 22-foot lift, not a problem. All right, Abraham, let's put that sucker in here.
Alrighty.
And then we're gonna go vertical. And we got our little gravel well down here. All right, I'm in here standing on the generator. Got our battery in place, generator is under me. Gotta bolt that down. We have to do one more task, and that's, well, before the hurricane. We're gonna weld you'll see these clamps over here. We're gonna weld that seam all the way around. Stitch that up. Thankfully we got a nice little Ranger 9 stick welder here, and we'll seal that up. So, because this was bolted together, we didn't put any silicone in that because we knew we didn't want to be smelling that. So Abraham's just tightening it up, bringing it tight, but there's a little bit of warp on the door. So we got some C-clamps just to take that out, leave a little bit of gap, make it weld nice. We've added our PEX connection down there, so everything's coming up out of the ground, and now we're ready to throw some stone in here. It looks like 450 cubic yards will get us to where we want to be, and that's going to be about 18 inches over the top of that section there, and we'll come right up to this and leave this hatch open. This is great. This has been helpful. I'm glad he did this. Ron added the 4-foot hatch right over the generator, so it allowed us to get these heavy items in, because it's just hard to jump. Sometimes when you jump from that bank and you grab a hold of that edge, it's really hard to get in there. But we did put the ladder in there. Well, we will cover that up before Hurricane Sally comes. Sump pump's gonna be set up just in case we get a gully washer or toad strangler in here, and we wanna pump that water out. So we'll have that plugged into temporary shore power, just in case things get out of control here with the hurricane, and we'll be able to pump the water out of this hole. So all the 57 will take the water down to that end, and then we'll start extending the pipes and bolting things on. So what are we looking at up here? This is the blast valve. That's got to be bolted to this pipe here. So we have those connections. We'll do that later once we get to where we're above ground. And then the air intake is over there, and that gets angled over towards the bank. We'll show you that. We're just keeping everything covered until we can safely work on the pipes. And then we've got that's the air going out to the surface, and then the generator exhaust in the middle. So it's air into the gen pod, generator exhaust, and air out. So I'm doing this video in case you want to install one of these yourself. My first one took me a long time because I didn't have any instructions. Ron, hey Ron, I didn't get any instructions. So this one's going 1,000 times better. So I thought I'd share via video some of the things that you need to do and pay attention to. In dealing with installing an Atlas shelter. Again, when we bolt these up, we silicone everything there, escape pod the same. And then when we get up to the surface and we kind of have our final grade here, we'll cut this level with that final grade, and then weld the entry hatch on and cut the ladder to length like we did on the other one. So just a few tricks we're learning, but to get to this point on our very first one took us about a month due to crazy weather, and we're here in 5 days on this one, 5 or 6 days to this point, which we're happy with that. All right. So just documenting this in case you want to tackle one of these and we aren't able to get to you, you can do it. Now we're welding up the generator pod all the way around, and it's one of those good overhead welds you should do with a short sleeve shirt. Yeah, that's right. Here we go. Yeehaw! And for the next piece of equipment on our next episode of DIY Bunker Install, we have a Telebelt. Telebelt is an awesome piece of equipment that can be used to transport concrete or a little bit of 57 stone into our hole. All right, we're setting up the Telebelt, and the hopper is getting set up now. Hopper will be placed here, and then we got a wheel loader that will be filling that hopper while we're down in the hole, directing the hose to bed everything in. So This is a new one. But the amount of work this is going to do will save days. I'll save a day for sure versus an excavator scooping it in. So they make sling trucks and telebelts. We felt the telebelt was local, and we thought this is the move. A little more research and saw what they do with this thing. I'm like, yes, this is what we got to do. Okay. Telebelt set up here, setting a hopper to feed this conveyor. It'll go up and over to where we are. All right, we got Barry back on the wheel loader. Yeah, Barry. And we got equipment here just in case we get in trouble with anything. Old Brian stole my Yamaha, and we're gonna put a tree so we don't have to beat on the brakes of the loader. Just make a little break here because we got a lot of repetitive movement. Abraham and I are going to get in the hole with our hard hats, and hopefully we don't get a stone baptism today. 'Cause this thing will do it, he said, if it gets a root or something caught in it. It's the first load of loading the hopper. Mr. Barry's going to be busy all day. He's going to be feeding us in there. All right, our first bucket of many. We're going in the hole, but that's the operation. Thankfully, they brought the big hopper because they have skid steer hoppers that would take 5 ever to move that pile. So here we go. We're gonna start feeding the other end. Oh, they're feeding. All right, beginning of the stone. This thing is incredible. Just filling her up. Oh my goodness. No shoveling yet. So sweet. Hopefully we didn't forget anything.
There's no digging this gravel up.
No, imagine that nightmare. Oh, not much time to film. Just been wrestling this thing all day long, but I'm thankful for it because we are getting it. This is the way to do this. So Barry's we're wearing Barry out in that wheel loader trying to keep up with us. This thing can move some rock. Again, 450 cubic yards in this hole in, I don't know, 6 hours maybe. So cannot touch that. And then just the neatness of it, just clean aggregate, and just, man, put it exactly where you want it. The telebelt. I think I could do a telebelt commercial. It's just an awesome piece of equipment. Did not even know about it. We were looking for a rock slinger, and the gentleman recommended this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think it was Alex that did it. Okay, now we're gonna start putting our fabric. We're gonna put our, we got 8-ounce filter fabric we'll cover the stone with. And then we gotta put our air intake pipes. We were up to the surface now. We're gonna put that air intake pipe over here. We're gonna have the big machine dig out a pocket for it. And we'll stone that in. And we're doing good. All right, we've got our stone over the top. We're putting in our pipes now, air intake. Got that bedded in. Now we're gonna get the blast valve line that goes to the gen pod. That's going in now. When we get that buttoned up, we can put some fabric on here, start laying some dirt to this thing. We just went a little more vertical, got those above grade for our wires for all sorts of things. This is good enough for the weather. That'll seal off, and we got a escape hatch that goes on there. Sit about a foot above the grade right now. Now we got lots of dirt to do what we need to do to make this place look nice. You good? How we doing, boss?
Doing good.
All right, here comes the rain from Hurricane Sally. I dug a moat around. Should be fine. Taking it down there. We got a lot backfilled. It's not going anywhere, and the sump pump is plugged in. If we do have any water in the bottom of this thing, be interesting to see if it does discharge some. But we're ready. Packed in. Conduits up, candy canes up, critical things tarped, and man, what a day. Whew-wee. All right, send them compactors back. We don't need those anymore. All righty. Well, we got to come back. We're going to take a break because of the rain, get on a solar job, and then come back and finish this thing. Solar array. We got a lot of trenching, septic, water, power, DC, AC, and clean up. And we got lots of dirt that we can do a final grade and make this place look really nice. We'll be back. When I did want to say that this is part of a DIY. We're doing a lot of DIY projects, and this is one that we've pretty much documented everything, every step of the way. We've done it. This is our second one. Different equipment this time, but we know how to do these. And if you ever want to tackle one and need help, let me know. I'll walk you through it. It's a big project, but if you get the right equipment, it's fun. Talk to you later. All right, well, we're not getting anything done today, but we got our moat in. She's a flowing around the bend and taking it down there into the woods, so we should be good. Some pumps plugged in. We got 2/3 of it buried before the deluge. She's not popping out of the ground now. Okay, this is Atlas Shelter Big Boy. Sometimes you got to contend with the weather. Well, most of the time. Okay, we'll be back in about a week. This will settle it in nicely. We'll be back to backfill and put on the rest of our gizmos, entry hatch, escape hatch, and then we got all that mountain of dirt to grade this out and make it look beautiful. We gotta get some of this gravel pushed in. We got a couple more days of dirt work. Okay, it's Engineer 775 signing out from, I think, part 2 or part 3 of the Big Boy DIY.